majority of my pigeons are Staff Van Reeds, and then Carol Ermans as well. But I think I've got more Staff Van Reeds than any other strain like.
Right. Is there any particular strain like the Ermans against the Van Reeds for long distance racing?
Well, the ones what's been successful in national racing, where the money races have been more successful with Carol Ermans from the from when I've had the 2 second nationals. But the Staff Van Reeds, I do believe, are going to get better in the next few years. I believe I'm just getting my lines together, and I'm just getting my act together with them and finding out all putting best to best, and I believe the Van Reeds are going to lift off.
Right.
Hopefully.
Are not the Ermans meant to be sprinters?
Well, they all say Carol Ermans on it man's name, as you know, and from years and years ago, you don't know what else has been put into them. There's nothing pure; it's on it man's name, and obviously them Ermans were originated from years and years ago, and probably some of them's been added with different pigeons and still classed as Carol Ermans. I don't know. Or you had your Paul Erman, your Carol Erman, which would be different distance pigeons anyway. Your Paul Erman were supposed to be more of the blacks and more of the longer distance. So there's different lines, isn't there, for different distances, and it's the feeding as well. I believe what gets more out of them for these longer races. It's only feeding.
Right. So what you're saying there is, from a sprint strain pigeon bred on the sprint lines, fed correctly, should go out for a decent distance.
Yeah, I believe any pigeon, even your sprint pigeons, your 200 mile, what you say, a lot of pigeons will only go up to 200 miles, these really fast sprint birds. I believe any pigeon will win up to 350, 370 mile if fed correctly.
If it's fed right.
If it's fed right, if it's fed, plenty of protein and carved up weight. If you're ever feeding for channel racing, I believe you'll bring best out of any sprint pigeon will fly, such as your wren's distance, 360 something to me. And I think then when it comes into 420 and Neot and 500, your 600 and 700, I think you're needing a different pigeon then.
Motivation. Systems used for racing. What about old birds, inland racing?
What I usually do, I have 2 lots of widowwood cocks, 28 in total, 16 in one shed, in one shed and 12 in another shed. And then which I've done this year, which I don't usually do, I've raced 16 widowwood ends, which I've been happy with my performances so far. So that's what I'm hoping to do on next year's racing, is I've 28 widowwood cocks and 16 widowwood ends.
Right.
And as for motivation, obviously with widowwood, I just show them the ends on a Friday.
Yeah.
Don't let him into the other side of the box. Put the pan the right way up, put the hen in, and let him have whatever amount of time. I mean, obviously with the yearlings, the darkness pigeons, they're only just knowing job, just learning job. Yeah. They want to be left 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Where your older cocks, which is not many in my team now, because I'm going more for youth. I do believe you've got to keep putting youth in your team, just to get a bit wise at job when they get a bit older and they start plodding home, they get a bit slow at job. So I think you can't beat youth in out. Right. So with the yearlings, like I said, 2 to 5 minutes. With the old cocks, you've got to 10 to 15 seconds, and you've got to be a bit crafty with them, and you've got to play them at their own game and get them keen out, because if you leave them in too long, the hens lose the rankness and the cocks seem to know. Where the yearlings, it don't seem to matter as much, because they're only learning job anyway, and it don't matter. They're not until you get halfway through the season. Then if they're getting a bit wise, you can alter the system like you do with the older cocks, just to shock the system.
Right. What about hens? Right.
With widowwood hens, well, I mean, I've tried all different ways. I mean, Barry McNicholas were excellent with widowwood hen flying, and he used to say to me, out up to 20 minutes, 18 minutes with the cock, because I've dummy cocks for them. I don't, them widowwood hens, I have 16 dummy cocks, what I don't on V-perches, just like your widowwood hens are kept, and I don't race them. They're not roundabout, they're kept for purpose to put into me widowwood hens on a Friday, same as your widowwood cocks. And what I do, I try it different weeks. So sometimes I leave it to a couple of minutes and torment them like I do with my cocks, my older cocks or my younger cocks, whatever you want to call it. And then later on I shock the system, and then I try the 18-minute one, just so they not start pairing up together.
Right.
And you've got to be a bit clever with them. You've got to keep shocking system, or you'll get them a different motivation, and you'll get them trying to pair up and one thing or another. And I think, but if you keep leaving them too long all the time, I think you might knock too much off them. But more for distance races, leave them longer. But for short sprint races, a couple of minutes like.
Yeah. Have you ever tried the jealousy, 1 cock with 2 hens?
Only with young bird racing. Not with. I've not done that with my old birds, Rob. I don't like that, you know.
So let's say I go on to channel racing or long distance racing. You still fly them on widowwood?
Yeah, but in the past I have tried some other ends paired up on with clip down cocks in me, but with my young bird darkness pigeons as well, which I don't think's right, and they're not going all beneficial with amount of room and space. They're not as you would like to keep pigeons. But I have had success with natural pigeons over at Channel.
Which do you prefer, natural or widowhood?
I believe widowhood, because you can get more races out of them. Where natural, you seem to only get to prepare them on that condition for certain races. Where widowhood, you get more races out of them. But I do believe for these long 500-mile races, I think they've got to be paired up then.
You're talking extreme distance?
Yeah, if you're talking extreme, like even with widowhood ends, and you think you've got some distance ends, I would then pair them up.
Right.
If I went wing foot sprinting, I would then pair them up. But I think you need them all in separate sheds, don't you? You want if you're flying, depends what distance, you want them prepared from word go and have them in on a shed on their own. That's my theory, like.
Right. What about feeding? Obviously, you'll change the feed as the distance gets longer.
Yes. Well, not as you change the feed as the distance gets longer. You start by not breaking them down as much. And I think for distance, you want more protein level from the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
From the Saturday prior, you might keep some pigeons and not send them the week before. You might give them a fortnight's rest and train them and prepare them for them big races. Or some pigeons what like the work, if you lay them off, they're not as good unless you're training them at 100-mile tossers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Private training, which I've not done that like. So I believe you just give them more protein level, build it up, and then still carve them up, but you're building them up on better corn and more heavier corn for Channel racing, because you're basketing usually on a Thursday or a Wednesday instead of a Friday. So you've got to feed them early, haven't you?
Higher levels of protein for the longer distance.
Higher levels of protein, and sometimes, I mean, they always say a few peanuts, which I ain't tried yet, but a lot of people believe in peanuts for distance racing, as well as protein and peas, and then peanuts towards the end of the week.
Yeah.
And which I'm probably try that in future.
Right. We've gone through inland racing, long distance racing, young birds.
Well, I believe the best way is to keep young birds, if you can, tops in one side, ends in other.
Two sections.
Yeah, just like you're flying your widowhood or your semi-widowhood, or if you want to call it, it'd be like a semi-widowhood. It's just like flying. I believe flying young ones on eggs and that, there's some good results, some good national results what can come out. But I believe my best results is pigeons tormented, motivated, like tormented through jealousy for sex, like you would with old birds, exactly the same. It's all common sense, isn't it? Fed the same, but try and motivate them the same as you would with old birds. And so I believe
when you're flying young birds, do you break them down?
Yeah. Well, I always usually break my pigeons down. I use sometimes I Epsom salts them out on a Sunday. So if I'm Epsom salts in them, I just give them a few groats on a Saturday, something light.
If I could just jump in there, Steve. Yeah. Epsom salts, right? You say you Epsom salt them out. Tell us why. Why do you do that?
Right. The reason why I do that, because usually, as you know, you get a lot of problems with young bird sickness occurring around from loft rope. Most of the countries suffering this last few years, aren't they, with young bird sickness? And I believe if you do it every 2 weeks, Epsom salts, right, when they come back from race, obviously just give them a light feed, groats or wheat, anything like that, bit of electrolyte, bit of glucose, and then the Sunday morning, give them a feed again, take the water away, very late Saturday night, give them the same, a few groats in Sunday morning or wheat, whatever you've got.
Light feed.
Light feed, very light, but no water. And then let them boil some Epsom salts up, boil some kettle up, let it go lukewarm. I mean, obviously, when you first get them used to it, you've got to muck about with 2 teaspoons per 5 pints. But as they get used to it, then you can go up to a dessert spoon, a couple of dessert spoons, or whatever however you want to do it. And then once you've given them some Epsom salts, then you can either go around. Well, they want to have some barley to tighten the droppings up. So you're clearing all the system out. You're giving them barley to get the blood right, and the fibres to tighten the droppings up, and then plenty of garlic into them, and also burn your shit out with a burner. So out what's come out of them, you're clearing out of them what's spinning baskets. If there's out in basket, you're clearing out of them. You're burning all your because burn will kill out over 60 degrees. It'll kill any bugs or viruses what's coming out in basket. You're keeping them right, and then get some garlic into them strong.